Mexicali, Diego de la Hoya. He's 20 years old. He takes on Guanajuato, Mexico's Ramiro Robles. 8 rounds in the featherweight division.
Like we have two baby-faced assassins. De La Hoya, 2 years younger, 1 inch taller, and he has 3 inches in wingspan.
De La Hoya in the ring, wearing Mexican colors. A lot of support here tonight. Very excited to capitalize on this moment. He's had a stellar career so far. We mentioned earlier, 9-0 with 6 knockouts. Obviously, a lot of pressure with the De La Hoya name, but he's answered impressively.
Yeah, he's a baby at age 20, but he's not being fed baby food. They're putting him in there with real guys. Just 20 years old, less than 10 fights, and he's fighting guys who have way more professional experience, guys with winning records, guys who are coming to win.
Guys that are coming to win, and he grew up around the ring, and obviously has a lot of family and friends supporting him here tonight. But you're right, it is about the matchmaking, and he's got good people around him. This is a big night for him.
Yeah, and I would say Ramiro Robles, you see him right there, is probably his toughest professional opponent to date. Last July, Ramiro went toe-to-toe with Joseph Diaz Jr. for 10 rounds. I'd say it's the best fight between up-and-comers in all of 2014.
And let's go to Joe Martinez.
Well, fight fans, we are set to go with the next bout tonight. 8 rounds, this scheduled in the featherweight division. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the red corner. Wearing gray trunks trimmed in orange, he weighed in officially 122 1/2 pounds. In 15 professional bouts, his record stands at 12 victories, with 2 defeats, 1 draw, and 6 wins by way of knockout. From Guanajuato, Mexico, here is Ramiro Robles. And next, his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the colors of Mexico, green, white, and red. He weighed in officially 123 1/2 pounds, and in 9 professional bouts stands perfect. 9 victories, no defeats, with 6 big wins, coming by way of knockout. Presentando de Mexicali, Baja California, Mexico, el invicto, the undefeated Diego de la Hoya. Referee in charge of the action is David Mendoza.
Caballeros, recibieron sus instrucciones en los FAS y las reglas, ¿ok? Quiero que me sigan mis instrucciones, ¿ok? Desen la mano y regresen al fiscal.
We get ready to go. LA Fight Club, the Belasco Theater. Beto Duran with Doug Fisher, Mario Lopez, and Jessica Rosales, our co-main event. There you see him on your screen from Mexicali. As he said to say it, Cachanilla power. That's what they say down in Mexicali, right on the border. And he's ready to go. Actually trains with the Diaz brothers out in Coachella. So he drives from Mexicali out to the Coachella Valley to go and get his training on.
Well, it's just as hot out there, and you've got a lot of talent out there. And Joel Diaz, of course, knows what he's doing, training former world champion Tim Bradley amongst others, and Victor Ortiz now. But De La Hoya, one of his best prospects.
De La Hoya fought 7 times in 2014. He's wearing the traditional Mexican colored trunks, and he's loading up on that right hand early on against the southpaw Robles. His nickname is Zurdo. That stands for southpaw or lefty. He is loading up on that right hand early on, is De La Hoya.
And he's firing it from a safe distance. We saw last year when Joseph Diaz Jr. came right at Robles. Robles could take the heat and he could dish it out. Diego says he's going to box him smarter than the Olympian.
And he is so far. He's not coming out too aggressive. They're intense punches, but they're counter punches.
Diego De La Hoya, another heavy right hand. He said his entire life, when he got into the ring, everybody wants to beat him because of his last name. He said It's great to be Oscar's cousin, but I'm here to make my own name, and he's quickly doing that. Unloading again is Diego De La Hoya.
Beautiful straight rights. Very accurate. Fast, accurate, sharp.
Looking very sharp in this opening stanza.
Usually De La Hoya comes out, establishes the ring, Doug, takes generalship, but this is a different De La Hoya, more aggressive to start the fight.
He's had an excellent training camp coming into this fight. Actually sparred some rounds with Tim Bradley. No better work than that.
No, not at all. And I think maybe the reluctance to be as aggressive as he normally is, as I've seen him, is the southpaw, trying to figure out the timing, the distance, and landing some nice counter right hands this whole first round.
He is tagging the southpaw with that right hand.
And he's making Robles hesitant to let his hands go and to get his offense started.
And you can hear those punches. Got a lot of snap to him. You can see why he's got 6 knockouts in 9 of his fights.
Yeah, I'm impressed. Even though he's punching on the fly, like he's letting that right hand go and he's immediately moving, there's still a lot of authority on those shots.
Did Diego bring a left hand with him today?
Well, he hasn't needed one yet.
Not with this southpaw.
Uppercut from De La Hoya. De La Hoya said everything in his pro career he's earned. And there you see him unloading again. Diego De La Hoya is trying to make a name for himself as he's teeing off on the fighter from Guanajuato.
Beautiful punches, 7, 8-punch combinations. Robles being overwhelmed at the moment. Not able to get his composure.
On the ropes is Robles. Finally able to hold on. An impressive opening round for the fighter from Mexicali.
Going to show you the uppercut that started it for Diego De La Hoya. And there it is. And he followed it up with just a flurry of punches. 7, 8-punch combination. All to the face, landing the majority of them. And Robles completely overwhelmed.
Jessica Rosales telling us in the corner of Robles. The doctor told his trainer, watch him. Keep a close eye on him as he absorbed a lot of punishment in the opening round.
That fight, that round was so one-sided. Maybe you can make an argument for it being a 10-8 round.
That much, huh?
De La Hoya. Yeah.
And he comes in the second round, opens it up, landing some hard shots. Robles answering back a little in this round.
Well, think about it, Beto. Robles didn't land a single punch of note, and he was in trouble towards the end of the round. I mean, he ate a lot of leather. That has got to be the worst professional round of Robles' career.
Crazy numbers here. De La Hoya threw 116 punches that round, landed 55 of them.
That's awesome. I love it.
Literally half of the punches landed, and Robles not very active.
That's what you want to see from a young fighter. Letting those hands go and being accurate and not getting hit in return.
Yeah, that was like a hummingbird in there. Robles, meanwhile, biting down, trying to initiate some sort of offense himself.
Robles looked so formidable last July against Joseph Diaz Jr., and he claims he only had 2 weeks to prepare for that fight. He says he's had 4 weeks to prepare for De La Hoya, and he's looking completely outclassed.
Both of these fighters were in the Olympic Development Program for Mexico, so they know about each other. They've never fought. Robles, first time he comes to California, he said he's not here as a tourist, and he is just learning the rough streets of L.A. As Diego De La Hoya lives in Mexicali, a lot of family in L.A., a lot of people wearing his shirts in the crowd. He's got fans from San Pedro, Wilmington, all the way to East L.A., and including Mario, the Riverside Sheriffs, the Border Patrol, and the California Highway Patrol, because they train with him in Coachella, so they came out here
to support. Well, those are the guys you want in your corner. And meanwhile, Robles doesn't need to be on the outside in the end of those punches. He needs to get closer and try to smother those punches and work on the inside.
He's keeping his hands up higher, but he's still being nailed. And there's the left hook from De La Hoya, which we didn't see in round one. He said he's not a tourist, Beto, but he's being mugged. And, you know, I thought they could have taken a much closer look at him in the corner, the referee and the ringside physician. Maybe after this round, they'll take another close look at him.
De La Hoya, meanwhile, boxing beautifully, showing angles, pivoting.
The face of Robles is red and beginning to swell.
Every single fighter that Diego De La Hoya has fought has a better record of 500 or more. So it's not like they're giving him, you know, stiffs.
No preferential treatment because of that last name.
But he's running right through them.
Right.
Yeah.
And on the contrary, I think they're matching him maybe tougher than you normally would a guy with only a couple years experience.
And only 20.
Oh, good right hand from De La Hoya, who's dominating this fight.
Big left hook from Diego De La Hoya right there, and an overhand right, showing his arsenal. Really been landing with an array of punches, Doug.
His accuracy is very impressive.
The work rate and the accuracy, what you want to see from a young prospect.
Right, and good footwork, good defense.
Controlling the distance.
Yeah, Doug, De La Hoya looks thicker. He's still the same weight, but it looks like he's putting on some muscle.
I can see it.
And
yeah, I see it in his midsection especially.
He big right hand from De La Hoya.
And right off a pivot.
Another right hand.
The result of nice footwork. And, you know, it's so tough for young fighters to learn that. That's something usually that comes with experience. Footwork, distance, which is so key and important. And he seems to be very mature for his 20 years.
Absolutely.
In the ring.
He's leading Robles around and leading him right into traps, and they are painful traps.
He sparred with Timothy Bradley in the desert, and every single partner that he had for this fight was 140 pounds or more, Mario. They said they wanted to get him somebody heavier because he was running through his sparring partners, and we're seeing the dividends are nice.
Well, Robles is clearly a tough guy. He's eating a lot of leather, still game, still coming forward.
But he's sleepwalking, Mario. He's plodding forward. Yeah, he's absolutely game, but...
Yeah, that first round took a lot out of him.
Yeah, I don't want to say his will to win has been gone, but, I mean, his intensity was beat out of him in the first round or two.
Yeah, definitely discouraged.
And Jessica Rosales has more.
So I talked to De La Hoya's corner, and they told me they planned for a very smart and tough fighter in Robles. So now it's time for the adjustments. They said he can definitely take a punch upstairs. Time now for them to work the body and definitely work it hard.
And if there's any positive to be taken from Robles as he starts to stalk, he's taken his best shots. He's managed to stay upright, so maybe that'll give him a little confidence. And look at these exchanges. Certainly still game.
Yeah, he is still game. I'd like to see more body work from Robles, but he's having a hard time landing clean shots to De La Hoya's head.
Diego looks like he's gotten a little sloppy. He's gotten caught a little bit this round. Maybe fatigue setting in,
That's
really wanting to impress. Big counter right hand.
He's still accurate, though.
As you say that, another right.
But he took a gamble by trying to close the show at the end of the first round. He may be feeling that because he exceeded 100 punches in one round.
You're exactly right. In 8 rounds, still got a few more to go. Not even halfway yet.
As Jessica reported, they told him to work the body. Same thing the champ Timothy Bradley told him. De La Hoya not doing that here. See if he picks it up in the next round.
Take a look at the big right hand. Big right hand landed from Diego. Different angle of it off of a pivot. And he's been doing that pretty much all night.
And with that footwork, he limits his exchanges. So he doesn't, he can dominate a round without being the total aggressor for all 3 minutes of the round and throwing that high volume. He can pick his spots because of that footwork.
And for a guy who's only been fighting professionally for 2 years, he shows, again, a lot of veteran moves with the shoulder shrugs, with the left hooks, the footwork. Nice.
Golfsmith, anything for golf. In the 4th round, scheduled for 8. De La Hoya, Diego De La Hoya, the 20-year-old from Mexicali in the green, white, and red trunks. The southpaw from Guanajuato, Mexico, San Jose Iturbe to be exact, Ramiro Robles. And you see the punch numbers, it's all De La Hoya.
Throwing him over 100 punches around, averaging, being very accurate, landing, high work rate.
Robles trying to stay on top of him, trying to cut the ring off, not doing a great job of it. I think he wants to get as close as possible to smother De La Hoya, but he just has no answer for the lateral movement.
Yeah, and he's not going away, so these are the type of tests that De La Hoya needs.
Lands a right as he's moving. He didn't even have his feet planted, De La Hoya.
So you know what's being tested tonight, Mario, is his focus and his conditioning.
Yes.
Because of the work rate that he set for himself from the opening bell.
So you're exactly right, and he could fall victim to that. I don't see it happening. 20 years old, for the most part, you should be able to go fight all night.
We asked him about possibly going 10 rounds. He said, let's get through 8 first. I've had one 8-rounder, maybe 10 towards the end of the year.
De La Hoya, as much success as he's been having, he's moving back still a lot more.
And I noticed there's not as much snap on his punches now as there were in the first 3 rounds.
Give Robles a lot of credit standing there after he absorbed a lot of pressure, in the first.
A little pushing there.
Yeah, now we're starting to see 2 young fighters. Remember the babyface assassins, as you mentioned it, Doug? That's some blood coming down the nose.
Yeah.
Of Robles.
And Robles is earning his paycheck tonight.
Man, he's a tough kid from Guanajuato.
Young fighters learning their way. 20-year-old De La Hoya, 22-year-old Robles.
I like Robles is letting his hands go whenever De La Hoya lets his hands go now. He might be able to catch him. He's trying to work the body, which is smart, because he wants to bring that conditioning down.
And he didn't come here to lay down. He's eating a lot of leather, but he's still letting his hands go. Still out there trying to swing hard.
De La Hoya finishing the round strong. We're scheduled for 8. LA Fight Club.
Accurate right cross from Diego De La Hoya. Ducks under a right cross of Robles. Spins out into a safe area.
And that's been pretty much the microcosm of the fight. And again, not very typical for a 20-year-old. All these veteran moves with the shoulder shoves, the spins. Savvy stuff.
He sort of has the best of both worlds. He was a member of Mexico's national amateur team. He had over 250 bouts. And here in Southern California, he's getting the best of the professional boxing world.
Yeah, we're only touching the tip here of the potential that De La Hoya could become.
Yeah, the foundation is great.
Yes, solid.
There's a huge foundation for Joel De La Hoya as the manager and Hoya Diaz as the trainer can build upon. And this fight is going to force him to grow too, because Robles will not go away.
He's not, and we both noticed in the corner in the previous round, De La Hoya was breathing a little heavier. The mouth's a little more open.
Yeah.
So this is the time you got to bite down on that mouthpiece and really sort of reassess the rest of the game plan.
Give Robles a lot of credit. He continues to work and make De La Hoya work. And what was an impressive opening round for De La Hoya, pace is slowed as Ramiro Robles isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, and although I've scored all 4 rounds for De La Hoya, the 4th round, it was mildly competitive. In fact, towards the end of round 4, Robles had his moments. He landed to the head and he landed to the body.
I've been impressed by Robles' toughness hanging in there. After that first round, I didn't think we'd still be here.
Well, most fighters wouldn't be. And if De La Hoya was in with a journeyman, the journeyman would have looked for that soft spot on the canvas by now, or he would have quit on his stool. Robles is a prospect in his own right, and he had a decent amateur background, so he comes in here with a young man's pride, only 22 years old.
Very, very young.
He wants to win. He wants to win.
Well, Golden Boy, and credit to their matchmakers, like to make competitive fights and don't like to give tomato cans to guys to where they just blow them over. Does nobody any good, especially the fighters involved.
We saw that last week with our main event at Carlos Molina and Hesta, where they just stood in the ring and went back and forth, a split draw. So a lot of credit to both of those fighters. There's Diego De La Hoya, the 20-year-old in the green, white, and red, up against the southpaw, Ramiro Robles. 2 young fighters. here at the Belasco Theater in downtown Los Angeles.
And we're seeing more grappling on the inside now. And with this grappling, I think Robles has more opportunities to nail De La Hoya in return, and also has some opportunities to help wear out the favored prospect.
This is what Robles said he had to do. He said he had to smother, and he had to get in front of De La Hoya. Good fight between the two young Mexican fighters as he pushed down.
Let's take a look at De La Hoya slipping. Literally, that's what it was. Tripped over the foot, slip. Good sportsmanship at the end. Fighters touching gloves. No bad intent there.
6th round between De La Hoya and Robles, and look at the numbers. It's been all De La Hoya.
And this is the kind of fight you need as a good young fighter. You're getting some rounds in. You're getting a guy who does not want to go away. You've given him your best, and he's still hanging in there. This is what's going to make you better in the long run. And again, successful with the same combinations and the pivots in that right hand.
De La Hoya's last fight was in February against Manuel Roman. That went the distance, 8 rounds, and that was a tough fight that we saw here on Golden Boy Live.
Well, Roman was a very capable fighter.
Trained by Vasquez.
Yeah, local guy, brought a lot of fans with him to Indio, California, Fantasy Springs Casino. And again, he was somebody with a winning record, somebody with more professional experience than De La Hoya, somebody who came to win, so obviously somebody who tested De La Hoya's talent. And in that fight, we saw more of the boxer. In this fight, for the first 3 rounds, we saw more of the fighter in Diego De La Hoya. And over the second half of the bout, we've seen more of the finer points of boxing from De La Hoya, as he's had to pick his spots and move a little bit because the guy in front of him just won't go down.
No, and he's been very active, not for lack of effort. He's thrown about 4 times as many punches, and there's been no quit in Robles.
Yeah, but Diego's, his punch output has dropped off. It did drop off in the last 2 rounds, although it does look like he's picking it up right here in round 6.
Good overhand right from De La Hoya, finally going to work the body just like Timothy Bradley told him to do in fights. So that's something that he needs to work on as he progresses.
You know, something Bradley said to Diego that he liked about sparring with the smaller fighter is he told De La Hoya that you make me think about what I'm going to throw at you because of the way you counter, because of the way you move, because of your punch selection.
It's a great compliment.
And it was, and I think that's something that's going to stick with a young fighter. So he comes out and he's like, well, I'm not just going to try to blow my opposition out with just heart and volume. I'm gonna show the finer points of boxing and the nuances, and I'm going to use my head in there as well.
Beautiful combinations using both hands.
This is the kind of fight that is going to benefit De La Hoya when he's fighting at the 10-round level and the 12-round level, and he has to dig deep because he knows that he can do it because he had to do it right now, right here, tonight.
Meanwhile, Robles, not going anywhere, continues to press forward.
Good right hand from De La Hoya.
Not having much success, but
he's not going anywhere.
Out, not going anywhere.
Good flurry to end the round between De La Hoya and Robles. And there you see Diego De La Hoya, who said his name always brought pressure, but he's earned everything in his boxing career. Nothing has been given to him. He's 9-0, the 20-year-old, and he's in a good one here against Ramiro Robles. De La Hoya controlling the fight, but Robles isn't going anywhere after enduring a big barrage in the first round as Robles finally lands a bigger punch. Maybe the first one he's connected cleanly in this fight.
He landed 2. He landed a looping right hand and a looping left hand. Feeling like he's got to go for broke. 2 rounds left. Obviously not going to win a decision. Robles, very game in there tonight. Just as impressed by his toughness as I am by Diego's skill set.
Diego De La Hoya, the cousin of Oscar. Trained by Oscar's brother, Hoya De La Hoya.
Managed.
Actually, correct. You're managed by Joel De La Hoya, trained by Joel Diaz.
A lot of Joels in his life.
Not that the manager can't show him some things about boxing.
That's what I'm sure.
Joel De La Hoya was
Joel
a good
used to be in Oscar's corner.
That's
doing
right.
The bigger fights.
Yep. He was in Oscar's corner, Oscar's entire Hall of Fame career.
That's right. Constant presence.
And Diego is grateful for that famous last name, and he says he's grateful that all of his professional bouts have been on TV, but he also wants fight fans to know, especially hardcore fans that can be kind of critical, that he's taken on the kind of opposition where that merits being on television.
Like now, we have the fighter meetings the day before a fight. You always ask these guys, what are you doing? How's your training? And Diego, we've gotten to know him here in Golden Boy Live. And, we learn not to ask about the name anymore because he gets a little chippy, which he should. Because it's like, I've answered these questions, you guys know it, but I'm Diego, I'm not Oscar, and I'm here to make a name for himself. And at the rate he's going, he's 20 years old, he's stepping up in competition. Mind you, an extensive amateur career, but when you fight 7 times in 1 year.
Well, that's how you do it right there. And he's looked like a solid prospect and has really been impressive tonight.
And we're seeing some different wrinkles here in round 7. He is tired. He's thrown a lot of punches. Hasn't been punched that much in return, but he's had to work so hard, and just the mental fatigue from having a guy stand in front of you and take your best shots and to continually try to walk you down. He's dealing with that, and right now he's kind of slowing the pace by tying Robles up on the inside. That's something we didn't see in the earlier rounds.
And these are things that you have to learn the hard way. You can't really
you can only spar so much.
Yeah,
right?
You can only spar for so much, and these are the things that literally are invaluable in your growth.
And you don't get these kind of fights on your 10th fight of your pro career. There's Diego De La Hoya, big round for De La Hoya. Robles hanging in though.
De La Hoya is still finding a home for that big right hand from the outside. Here's another look at it. Right on the button.
And how bad does De La Hoya want to finish with a flourish and try to knock this kid out and have a big close here and an impressive night?
We're going to find out.
8th and final round. Thanks for your comments on Twitter, Golden Boy Live, the hashtag. We're reading them. And some good comments. This is more of testing Diego mentally, too.
I agree.
Thought he had this fight wrapped up in the first, possibly. Unloaded, and has to go 8 with a tough Robles.
You have to imagine, after that opening round, Diego went back to his corner thinking, yeah, maybe 2 or 3 rounds and this guy's done for. The corner will stop it. I'll knock him out. The ref will stop it.
Heck, the doctor was in the corner.
Yeah, I'm not. This isn't going 8, and you kind of let yourself relax a little bit mentally.
Well, yes, you're right. Not only that, it drains you because all those emotions, the adrenaline's going, so it teaches you how to still pace yourself mentally, which is key in fights, which can turn into marathons.
And clearly, he's in physical condition to fight a hard 8 rounds.
As they say, right, Doug, the championship rounds.
Body work by De La Hoya, which we really haven't seen much of tonight because he hasn't had the need, but showing yet another layer of his arsenal.
Yeah, he's got some good infighting skills. He's been nailing Robles. When Robles lunges in, he's been nailing him with uppercuts. Sometimes they're hard to see on camera or even if you're ringside, but he has some good inside punches.
You can see the wear on Robles' right eye, the southpaw absorbing those jabs, the hooks from De La Hoya.
I got to tell you guys, I'm impressed because I thought that this was perhaps, potentially the fight of the night. I thought on paper these guys were evenly matched. I was judging Robles really on that fight last July against Joseph Diaz Jr. And I said,
First time you see him. He's only fought twice in the United States. Robles is a fighter that if you put him up against an up-and-coming prospect who hasn't been tested, comes in with that upset.
Exactly. He's a great gatekeeper and tough kid, as we said. But at the same time, I thought too, Doug, that this was going to be the most competitive fight of the night. Maybe some back and forth, but it has been really one-sided.
Yeah.
One-sided, but action-packed.
Yeah, no, it's still compelling action in the ring here, but De La Hoya exceeded my expectations with his performance tonight.
And Robles exceeded him that hard. I didn't think he had that much in him.
Yeah, and some nice action right here in the 8th and final round. Both fighters going toe-to-toe, great body work, hard shots being thrown.
An entertaining fight between Diego De La Hoya and Ramiro Robles. Mexicali and Guanajuato.
And Robles really biting down the final 30 seconds of this final round.
Wow, De La Hoya
trying to close it big and answering some big punches.
Good stuff.
And that'll do it.
Stuff.
They go 8 complete rounds. The 20-year-old De La Hoya right there, and the 22-year-old Robles back and forth. De La Hoya controlled this fight. When we come back, we'll get the final decision. LA Fight Club on Fox Sports 1. We're back at the Velasco Theater in downtown LA, where Diego De La Hoya, there you see him on your screen, and Ramiro Robles win a tough 8 rounds. De La Hoya really controlled this bout from the opening bell.
De La Hoya showing his arsenal right from the get. Beautiful combinations through 8 10-punch combinations, straight punches all upstairs, landing at an incredible rate. First round, try to end it early. Looked like it was going to be a short night for Robles, but Robles proved to be a real tough customer and hung in there for the duration of the fight.
I don't know how he survived that opening round. It was offensive sharpshooting from De La Hoya, and we see a beautiful right hand off a pivot. We see 1-2-1 combinations from De La Hoya from the outside. An occasional shot landed by Robles because he was game throughout the fight. Tried to have his moments while smothering on the inside. Landed some body shots, but Diego De La Hoya can do that too. He's a decent infighter.
All his pivots and hard right hands were very successful tonight. Robles did not go away, proved to be a tough customer. Landed a couple shots himself. Vicious thoughts thrown by De La Hoya throughout the whole night. 274 punches landed by De La Hoya, under 100 for Robles. Had a high connect percentage with 35%. And overall, De La Hoya won a tough fight, won it convincingly. He showed speed, he showed strength, he showed good defense, some savvy veteran-type moves.
I had him winning all 8 rounds.
Yeah,
it was a hard fight, shutout.
And let's go to our ring announcer now, Joe Martinez.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds, we go to the judges. All 3 have it 80-72 for your winner by unanimous decision, and still undefeated, Diego De La Hoya.
Impressive performance. He even took some shots, but De La Hoya was never in serious trouble. Not a typical 20-year-old performance tonight, and he looks like a great prospect, Doug.
I thought we had an even matchup on paper. I thought we had a real test for Diego De La Hoya, and if it was a test, he passed with flying colors. Dominant performance from a nice up-and-comer.
And there you see him, Diego De La Hoya. He's now 10-0. Our main event coming